Also have another channel which is called Spiritual Echelons, where I look at religion and I look at spiritual herbal medicines, meditation, yoga, and all of those kinds of things. Now, there are things that you don't know that you need to know. There are things that you do not know that you need to know. Do you know that right now there are scientists and also people in the food industry that are trying to create artificial meat? In actual fact, not they're trying to create it, they have already created it. Now, why are they doing this? They're saying that animals, such as cows, give off too much methane. They're ruminant animals and they give off too much methane. They're saying that globally, 6% of methane is being given off by cows, and this is leading to global warming. Did you hear me? They're saying that this methane is leading to global warming. Or should I say, correct that sentence and say that methane is contributing, and I say again, contributing towards global warming. So this is one of the reasons why they want to create this artificial meat, this lab meat. Now, there's a guy called Bill Gates, and Bill Gates has actually invested in this artificial meat. He's also invested in a company called Monsanto. I'll come back to that in a minute. But Bill Gates says that there's certain advantages of having this artificial meat. And he says, for example, he's talking about Burger King. By the Impossible Burger, this is artificial meat. Gates says it's slightly healthier for you in terms of less cholesterol and also creates drastic reduction in methane emissions. Do you hear me? It helps to create drastic reduction in methane emissions and also animal cruelty. Plus, manure management and the pressure that meat consumption puts on land use, says Gates. Land use, the pressure it puts on consumption of land use. But Bill Gates is also buying up a whole heap of farmland. Yeah, he's bought over 130,000 acres of land. I believe something in that region. Yeah, a whole heap of land, man. So what's he doing with this land? And who's he bought the land off of? Farmers. These farmers who have gone bust, yeah, can no longer manage their farms. And plus other people has just sold up. What's he gonna do with this land? I gotta ask him that question. Bill, what are you going to do with this land? And why are you so interested in promoting this lab meat? Anyway, Bill goes on to say, Gates wants us to eat more healthier meat substitutes. Yeah? So he talks about, and it's not only him, but these other organizations talk about artificial meat in Beyond Burgers and Impossible Burgers. Meat replacement like Beyond Burgers and Impossible Burgers often contain a variety of additives, including emulsifiers and other chemicals, to mimic the texture, flavor, and the appearance of real meat. The appearance of real meat. Man, the appearance of real meat. So, we don't know what long-term effects of having this artificial meat is going to be, do we? No one really knows what the long-term effects is going to be, because it could kind of lead to some forms of cancer and other serious health problems, couldn't it? Because we don't know what the long-term effect is going to be on us. It's talking about it helps to reduce the reduction of cholesterol, but in this place, something else might come out which is not going to be beneficial for us as human beings. Okay? And we don't know also what it's going to be doing to our immune system, because without an immune system, we'll be open to so many different diseases. So this lab meat, what long-term effects is going to have on people? What are some of the ingredients in this meat? Now, excuse me for some of these terms, because these scientific terms are sometimes really hard to, how would I say, hard to pronounce. Right, so there's something called emulsifier 4. While there isn't a specific emulsifier universally known as 4, emulsifiers are substances that help mix ingredients like oil and water, which usually don't blend well. They are commonly used in foods like mayonnaise, chocolates, ice cream, and baked goods to improve texture, appearance, and shelf life. Right, so emulsifiers put in foods. Yeah. Now, oil and water, or fat and water, don't bond together. So by using these emulsifiers, it helps to bond oil and water together, or fat and water. Right? There's a reason why nature created these things, not to bond together, but mankind has gone in and they've tampered, yeah, scientifically, with things that aren't supposed to go together. We can see that a lot also with this GM foods or GMO foods. There's something else which is called legumoglobin. I can't even pronounce this. Legumoglobin. Okay? Let me spell it out. Leghemoglobbin. Legumoglobin is a protein found in the root nodules of, and I cannot pronounce this, leguminous plants, and it's also used as food additive to mimic the red color of meat, specifically soya legumoglobin, derived from genetically modified yeast, has been approved by the FDA as a food additive. This protein is responsible for the red color of Impossible burgers. So you got two things going into these into these meats, which is emulsifier 4 and this legumoglobin. I think I've got that pronunciation correct. You see, when you got all these scientific terms, yeah, and terminology, when you look on the back of food packets, when it's got all them kind of weird names, man, I got to say, is unnatural things that they're using. Yeah, anything that you can't pronounce, man, I would be very mindful of that. All right, let me go back. So, they want to produce this artificial meat and then eventually get us off of eating real meat. So, what's going to happen to these cows? What's going to happen to these sheep? What's going to happen to these deers as a result? Are they going to be removed? Are they going to be removed? Will this only be meat for the elite? That rhymes, isn't it? Will this only be meat for the elite, whilst the poor people will be eating this lab meat? And we don't know what the long-term effects of eating this stuff is going to do to us, to our health. Now, you got a company and they're called Monsanto. And this is another company, which Bill Gates, he seems to be everywhere at the moment, right? Bill Gates has invested in Monsanto, right? This organization, they do a lot of food preparation and stuff. Anyway, they start to patent seeds. So things like rice and grain, they're patenting these things. In other words, they've got a license for these things. If anybody tries to use certain grains which belong to Monsanto, they could be fined or probably put in prison. Do you know that? Check out Monsanto. I want you to go and do your own research. Don't rely on me. And don't believe what I'm telling you. I want you to go out there and to do your own research. That way you can't be fooled. Okay? Don't be lazy. Don't depend on other people. Don't use what I'm saying as a crutch for you to lean on. You go out there and do your own research. Do your own due diligence. Eventually, if we have no meat to eat and we have this lab meat, what is going to be the long-term effects of that? Is it going to be detrimental to our health? Or is it going to be something that's going to be beneficial to our health? Not talking about those short-term things, yeah? What is the long-term effect of having these things? Because this emulsifier 4 and this other thing, legomoglobin, what might that or these things do to our health in the long term? I've got to ask you. I want you to leave me a comment. Tell me, what do you think? Anyway, Monsanto. You know that farmers can buy seeds from this Monsanto, but these seeds only have a very short shelf life. Yeah? And they'll grow for, say, 1 year or maybe 2 years. And then they'll have no use again. So the farmers got to keep going back to go and get more seeds from Monsanto. Okay? Because these seeds have been genetically modified. Same with grain. Okay? So that they got a very short shelf life. Oh man. And these farmers are losing their livelihood right, left, and center. I've heard also that that Monsanto, I believe, if another farmer has crop and this crop seeds blow over onto this Monsanto's crop, right, and then it becomes hybrid, that these people could be fined for that. Now, I don't know if that's definitely true, but if it is, how can you control the weather and know where the seeds are going to blow? That is really difficult, man. You see, you got that organic, the inorganic ones. You got people who are fighting for nature and trying to stay with nature. And then you got other people, they're going more towards a synthetic world, going towards this genetically modified foods, yeah? Going into this metaverse and all kinds of things, which is anti-nature. Now there's a guy and his name is Dr. Sebi. He's no longer with us. He died in 2016. I heard it was mysterious as well, the way he died. But Dr. Sebi was all for trying to help humanity. Right? Telling people about organic diets. You see, we got electric bodies. Our bodies operate by electricity. Okay? Our bodies are electric. And he says that we need electric foods in order for our bodies to be able to for our bodies to be able to mend itself. Our bodies need electric foods. And that's a lot of foods that we are eating are acidic. There's a scale, and a pH scale, and it goes from 0 to 14. From 0 to 14, anything from 7 and below is acidic. Anything from 8 or 8.5 and above is alkaline. Alkaline foods are better for you than foods that are acidic. If the food is acidic, it can have effect on your joints, okay? So you start getting inflammation in your body. Inflammation. So bronchitis is inflammation in the chest wall, yeah, and the lungs. You've got another thing, arthritis. That is inflammation in the joints, okay? So anything that usually ends with this itis word is inflammation in the joints, the eyes, yeah, or in the lungs, and so forth. But if you eat electric foods, they're much more better for you. So what are electric foods? What are electric foods? I'm trying to find the list here. We should be moving towards a more organic way of living, a more organic form of foods. So some of these foods are, for example, let me read them. Okay, so you've got bell peppers, coyote, you've got cucumbers, which are all alkaline. You've got kale, lettuce, okra, onions, squash, turnip. You've got greens, eggplant, zucchini, and fruits such as berries, apples, bananas, dates, figs, grapes, limes, mango, melons, papaya, plums, tamarind, and herbs such as basil, bay leaf, cayenne, cloves, sea salt, and thyme. Let me read some of these again. You got things such as bell pepper, coyote, cucumber. You also have things such as kale, lettuce, okra, onions, especially red onions is good for you because it has more antioxidants in it. All right, squash, turnip, you got greens, eggplant, berries, apples, bananas, dates, figs. You see, this is the real fast food because these things you can pick them and walk along and eat them at the same time whilst you're going off about your business. That's the real fast food. I'll say it again, that is the real fast food, not this artificial fake fast food which you get in fast food joints, which you get in burger joints. That is artificially constructed food. These foods have hardly any nutrients or vitamins in them. Yeah, but these things such as dates, figs, plums, tamarind, mango, limes, those things are much more better for you. They're natural foods. They're natural foods. The inorganic ones are trying to get us off of our natural foods and eating synthetic foods. Do you hear me? The inorganic ones want us to eat synthetic foods. They want us to live this synthetic life, this inorganic life. Now, Dr. Sebi, it was believed he had some possible cures towards things like cancer and AIDS, right? But those are uppers, they don't want this, okay? They don't want this kind of thing. You're more beneficial when you're ill to them. You're more beneficial when you're ill than if you're well, because they can't make no money. They can't make any profit off you. Dr. Sebi. So we have electric bodies. So therefore we need electric foods. We need organic foods. Now, this lab food, is that organic or is that inorganic? These GMO seeds, are they organic or are they inorganic? You have to make your mind up. Do you want to eat artificial foods? Do you want to eat natural foods? That is totally up to you. But know this, the long-term effect of eating inorganic food is going to have some effect on us. Okay? And if our immune systems get compromised, we are then open to all kinds of illnesses, all kinds of disease. Right? In actual fact, that word dis-ease is dis-ease in the body. That's what disease means. Dis-ease in the body, dis-ease in the joints, high blood pressure, yeah, diabetes, and all of these kinds of things, arthritis, are all a result of dis-ease in the body. We should be moving towards eating foods which are highly alkaline, as opposed to things that are very acidic. Do you hear me? Things that are very acidic. They're putting all kinds of things into the foods nowadays. There's something else I want to read out here. There's something called cellulose. Cellulose. Go look it up. Cellulose. I think it's CELLOSES. Cellulose. Right? And that is a form of wood. That's a form of wood. But guess what? You can also find this thing in certain foods. You can find this thing in certain foods. Let me see if I can find the foods we can find this thing. All right. I cannot find the list, but there are certain foods, such as cheese. Also, certain other things such. Let me have a look at this. I think I've got the list in here. Right, cellulose, derived from wood, used as a filler, thickener, anti-caking agent in processed foods like shredded cheese, baked goods, some sauces. It's considered to be safe for consumption and is regulated by the food safety authorities. I'm going to read that out one more time for you people, because you know what, sometimes you could be talking to a person and they're still not listening to what you're saying. They're hearing you, but they're not actually listening. That's two different things. There's a difference between listening and hearing. Let me read this again. Cellulose is derived from wood, used as a filler, thickener, anti-caking agent in processed foods like shredded cheese, baked goods, some I can't even read it, sauces. It's considered to be safe for consumption and is regulated by the food safety authorities. They're putting so many things into our food now that aren't really foods. So are we actually eating food? Are we really eating food? Because a lot of things that we seem to be eating now aren't really foods. There's a guy, and his name was Imhotep, an ancient Egyptian. And I'm talking about the ancient Egyptians, not the ones that's in Egypt now. I'm talking about the ancient Egyptians. There was a philosopher, and he was also a nutritionist, amongst other things, scholar, and his name was Imhotep. And Imhotep, he turned around and he said, let your food be your medicine and your medicine be your food. Let your food be your medicine and your medicine be your food. All right? If you got everything in that food, that's going to be beneficial for your health. You don't need no medicine. You don't need to take any supplements because everything should be within that food. All your irons, your zinc, vitamin C, all the minerals, all the irons, all the nutrients that you need for your body should be in that food. Okay? And if you're eating correctly, you're eating properly, you don't need no tablets or supplements. Let your food be a medicine and your medicine be your food. That's what Emotep, an ancient Egyptian, said. Now, I'm about to ring off. If you found this video of any use, please just leave a comment. You're going to have to start making your minds up. Are you going to move more towards the inorganic, synthetic foods and a synthetic world? Or are you going to move more towards nature and the organic? That is going to be totally up to you. And as I say again, the real fast food, not the artificially fake food, but the real fast food is your plums, your oranges, your lemons, your limes, your peaches, and all of those things, because you can eat them and still be moving. That's the real fast food. You could be going off about your business, pick these things off a tree or pick them from the ground and be eating them and moving at the same time. That's the real fast food, not this artificially constructed fake food. This is Amara with another video. Over and out. Thank you.